opening up science and opening up data and opening up dialogue is, in my view, all about maintaining an open society. Ultimately, it's about democracy.
The article has been around for 350 years, and there's a reason for that. It obviously is quite good as an idea, fundamental to open scholarship, and will be with us for some time. Whether it's the best way of doing scholarly communication, how it might be enhanced, what might replace it, is the exciting current discussion. And that discussion has to occur because the way we do research is changing so much.
Scholarship is changing, and that change can be summed up in one word: open. The buzz around open is getting louder all the time. Open access, open data, open science, all adding up to open scholarship.
Funding is changing, governments are changing, accountability structures are changing, technologies are changing. All this is really impacting, I think, what we do as higher ed institutions.
Huge shifts are taking place in the way in which scholars share their ideas. The open revolution is now moving beyond the scholarly journal to touch on all areas of academic endeavour.
There is a lot of momentum behind opening up journal articles. What happens to scholarly books, which are particularly critical in many of the humanistic fields where the extended argument that's typical of a scholarly monograph is often viewed as the essential unit of scholarly communication in those fields. We can move towards opening up a lot more of that material.
And that material also encompasses the very newest forms of digital research.
Social media is actually a place where the citizens are creating new ways of doing things, new social processes.
Opening up is also taking place behind the scenes. Sharing research data in an open way makes new things possible, helping to provide fresh answers to some of the most pressing challenges we face.
We should be opening up research data for two key reasons, and one is about research integrity. That's about the reproducibility of science and research quality. And the second one is about research use. So that's about exploitation, and in a sense you could see that as focused on collaboration. So by opening up your data, you make it easier for others to work with you, to add to that research and to stand on the shoulders of giants. And so if you look at things like global challenges in health and the environment, we know that cross-disciplinary research is absolutely essential to answer those global challenges.
But while the old ways of working are clearly changing, the journey towards openness is not without its stumbling blocks. There are challenges within the academy.
The bulk of the academic community have yet to be convinced that open access is a realistic alternative.
And also in the marketplace.
One of the key problems we experience at the moment is around this thing called hybrid publishing, which is where a subscription journal still levies subscriptions, but also charges an open access fee to make our individual articles open access. So I think we as a community need to move the model from a subscription model to a fully open access model, but that transition time cannot be indefinite.
So, what needs to happen now to make that move and ensure that the future is truly open?
Culture change.
We need information policies that will enable us to make information publicly available and accessible. We need money because there's no free lunch, and we need to change the culture.
That cultural change needs to go hand in hand with structural changes. The old model has to adapt to these new ways of working so that everyone benefits.
There's a big disconnect between what young researchers would like to be able to do, to be more efficient, to be more modern, to be better at what they do as researchers, and how they're rewarded.
So why should a researcher share their data? They're quite happy getting on with their own research in their own environment. And so we've got to really work out what the reward structure is. There's citation, data citation. Even that, we haven't cracked it. We haven't got citation rolled out. But then there are more, I think, complex issues in terms of really understanding how to reward open science and innovative practice within research.
But openness is a story that can and must be shared beyond researchers, beyond the academic community.
I think there's been a lot of talking to ourselves and among ourselves about these issues. But the folks that we need to think with or the faculty members, and also with the public. I think we see ourselves as guardians of a notion of openness that not everyone shares and not everyone understands.
Although many people, I think, are skeptical that the public don't really need to see the primary literature because they're not equipped to read it and understand it, I think massively underestimates the capabilities of the general public. It will help to stimulate even more public hunger for access to science and to news about science. And I think we have a duty as a research community to provide them with that, because much of our work is funded by them.
The open revolution is transforming academia. But more exciting is its potential to transform the way the whole world shares and uses our accumulated knowledge.
Individual scientists, individual researchers, individual scholars have got to feel that the data, the information they collect is not their data, but it's society's data. They've got to be prepared to make their data open.
We're reaching a tipping point, and the more information we get out, the more we can demonstrate that the restrictive policies inhibit creativity and open policies spur innovation. People will realize that narrow control over publication is actually limiting our growth rather than exploding it the way the internet has creativity and innovation and entrepreneurialism.
Discover how JISC is helping UK teaching, learning and research on its journey to openness.